Hello, guys. A very good afternoon to you all and warm welcome. This is a new platform that we are going to have training today. And if you don't see the screen or the audio, you can let me know so that I can change. And I'm sure you all can remember me in case if you have forgotten. This is Priyadarshini and I'm here to teach you verbal ability this semester. How are you all, guys? I hope all of you are staying safe and healthy and happy. And I'm also happy to finally meet you all after a very long time. Okay, so here it goes. I have some interesting task for you in the start initially. Let all the students come in. So till that, we can do something, which is I just want you to take a bit of paper, a piece of paper. Okay, don't take a full lengthy paper. I just want you to take a piece of paper and then write down the most form of stress that you're facing now, stress or a pressure that you're facing currently. Okay, I know it's quite a hard time for us all, and we are facing a difficult situation right now. But then I would want you to write write about the stress or the pressure that you're facing right now in that piece of paper. Okay, hope you have written. Once you have written that in the paper, once it is ready, please crush them. Please crush that paper to your ability and then throw it away somewhere around the corner of your home or even out of the window. I just want you to write the stress that you're facing or the pressure that you're facing or anything that is keeping you worried right now. You just write it on a piece of paper, crush it, squeeze it, and then throw it around somewhere in the corner of your house. Make sure that no one is disturbed by this. You can even throw it out of the window. Yeah, happy afternoon to everyone. Okay, I'm sure you made this. Okay, so all of you have crushed down the paper and then thrown it some way. I assume that you have done it. Next. So, in this particular situation, I think we can't control what is happening to us, but we can control how we can react to the situation or anything that's happening which is burdening us, right? So that's the attitude, right? Though we can't control what's happening to us, we can control the way we react to it. I'm sure that you have come across this line like previously, recently. Okay. So just imagine waking up with the news one day that COVID is no more, and that's all we are longing for, right? That's all we are dreaming about and longing for. Go out and uh, step out, meeting your friends, like the old normal time is back, and need to wear a mask and need to sanitize your hands. You're just the way you were old, right? So that's the one day we are waiting for, and keep waiting. It will happen soon, and it's all in our hands, of course. Yeah, we have great stories, in fact great inspirational stories to tell to our future generation, right? So have you noticed like recently, Ratan Tata, the founder of TCS, has given a statement that being alive this year itself is a great gift, and we should be grateful for that. Don't worry about your job right now. This is what he stated, right? So we are just going to work towards the question: are we becoming the better version than yesterday? Okay, because instead of worrying about your job your future endeavors. Just focus on one thing, which is survival. Okay. But don't you think that you have already become the better version than the last year? Just compare with yourself, how you were in the last year and how you are today. Okay, like we have been alone at first, we have hated things, we have fallen down and risen up. Slowly we reached a healing point, but we are happy with what we have today in home. We are safe home, and also making our loved ones happy and smile. Yeah, just the way we are. Okay. Also, one thing is that we should not expect others to lift us up. Instead, I just suggest you to self possess this attitude. Like, remember how you learned to drive a bicycle in your childhood, and you have fallen down when you learn to drive a bicycle or a bike or a scooty, anything it may be. You have fallen down, you tried getting up on your own, right? uh, Maybe sometimes people around you may help you, but you have work, like risen up on your own. The same thing I tell you today, try getting up on your own, because you will never ever face fear of falling again. Yeah, that's all we require today. Yeah. So the next thing is the self development that we should do this particular year. Okay. So give a pass to all those worries that you have been coming across previously or recently. Give a pass and to all those worries, job, future, money, all those things. Okay. Just take time to your self development, and the only thing is survival. Okay. And because a consistent care of your mind, body and soul are all the essential things for you to make better and also to live the life you dream. Okay, so take self-care and self-development of yourself. That this is all that we can do now. Yeah, if you would want to change the outside world, first start from changing within and then change the thoughts that you have. Like, give a positive vibe around yourself. That's all we have. Yeah. And then coming back to answering my question that I asked, are we becoming the better version? That's the only question we are going to work on. And I have few suggestions on this question. The first thing is I ask you to keep a diary or a journal of recording your daily activity. Okay. So it looks good. It keeps the test of your self development and how far you have come across the path. You can record it, right? That's the only thing. Words have the power. Yeah. Next thing is you can read books. Of course, I understand you are in a college and you have so many other subjects to read. Yeah, I understand. So initially, even I don't have the habit of reading books and all that, because I always get like after 2 to 3 pages, 4 to 5 pages, I get bored of reading. Yeah, but once you are aware of things and once you are ready for it, I think you can. Okay, even if you can't read books, if you feel bored of reading books, at least you can listen to podcasts, which is available on Spotify or Wink. Yeah, so that's there are so many topics being discussed today, like in so many awareness topics and all those. Not only for knowledge, we just have somebody to teach us something. Okay, that's the one. And the last thing I will suggest you is, instead of loving what you do, you just do what you love. Okay, that's the only thing. It can be anything. It can be dancing, singing, painting, or learning mandala arts, or gardening, or even cooking. Okay, even Instagram reels, anything is fine. But what you have to do is, you must do what you love. Okay, what makes you happy. Okay, you will see a best result from this activity. And when you do what you love with consistency, that is regularly, of course you will be away from all those bored mundane tasks. Yeah, and you'll feel good about yourself, and that's all. you'll stay away from getting bored. Yeah. Okay. So today, that's all for my introduction. And are you all ready to go to the session? Actual session of today. Yeah. So I'll just share my screen so that please let me know if you have issues with the clarity. And I'm sure the screen is visible to you right now. Yes, guys. So I hope you can see the picture and identify what's wrong with all these people. I hope you remember when we were in school days, like there was a competition called fancy dress competition, and people used to be dressed according to the character they reveal or portray someone. Yeah, but this looks odd, right? Doesn't it look awkward or weird and strange because they have worn the mismatch outfits. Okay, so in some schools there is a competition called mismatch day, which the students get the unique idea and come up with something new, which is not matching at all. The outfit should be mismatched. Okay, so this is the one different thing I have come across. So why do I speak about this is because when we speak to others, like when we speak to others in English language, either while we speak or either while we write, the words should fit in properly, right? Because the each and every word in the sentence should match, and then only then because the others might understand what you communicate, right? Because if it's not correct, it don't sound fine, it sounds odd. Also, the other person will not be able to understand what you're going to convey, right? So today's topic is subject verb agreement, and here we are going to see how far the subject and the verb should agree when it comes to a sentence, because you just can't say they is writing a letter, I are going to the kitchen. Yeah. She are writing a essay. Yes. If you communicate in this way, wherein the words don't fit along with each other, the others may get confused or they can't understand. So in order to make your communication effective, first you have to learn how the words can be put up in a sentence such that they agree with each other and it's a perfect match. Okay, so we'll also see how far they can disagree and how far they can agree, what are all the rules, what are all the exceptions behind it, all those things today. Also, we'll practice the exercises and all sort of questions so that you can get an idea of what are all the mistakes that you can do while solving questions. Okay, so let's go to the session now. First and foremost, you can have the view at the definition given here. Yeah, Please have a look at this subject-verb agreement. As the definition, as the word itself implies, subject and the verb should agree in number. That is what the definition is. And always when a definition comes, it's like we don't understand this theoretically, right? So let's go into the practical example now. So have a look at this example. The dog is playing with his ball. The dog is playing with his ball. So in this sentence, the subject is dog and it is singular. So we use the verb is playing, right? So it's all perfect. It looks perfect. You can't say the dog or playing with this ball. That is wrong. And then when you come to add a plural verb or playing, the subject should also be plural, right? The dogs are playing with their ball. See, wherever the subject comes, it's all plural here, the second sentence. So, if the subject is plural and it's talking about more than one dog, the verb is also plural, which is are playing. Okay. So, the first and foremost is what task is for us is identifying the subject and the verb should be our first task, okay? Because it gives us much confidence in proceeding solving a question. So what do you think that you should have these prerequisites and what are the significance or importance of this of learning subject verb agreement? First, let's learn that, okay? So all you need is a basic grammar knowledge of identifying some word as singular or plural. If you're able to identify some word as singular or plural, then you can easily solve this question. Okay, you're halfway out there. Next thing is we should know how to count the words. Okay, we have all heard how to count in numbers, like in one teddy bear is in front of you, four water bottles in front of you. We count numbers, right? But how do we count the words? Okay, here when it is dogs, we can count it as plural because it is more than one. And if it is only dog, we can count it as singular because it's only single person, single subject that is involved. So this is how we are going to count, because in accordance with the number, we are going to learn how far the subject fits with a verb. Okay. Also, the importance of this topic is that we can solve the sentence correction and the error spotting topics if you know the subject verb agreement rules. Okay, this is the basic and this stands as a foundation for the error spotting and the correction topics. Okay, so picturization always stands as the like it stands as a stone in our heart on the brain, right? So always a picture, we used to remember that very easily. So whenever it comes to singular, you just remember person waits. The verb is also a singular one. And here I add yes to the verb and to make it singular. Okay. But when it is more than one person, we just describe the subject as people, right? So that's the plural subject. And accordingly, we add a verb which is wait. Okay. First thing that comes to our mind when we say subject verb agreement is singular subject always takes a singular verb and plural subject always takes a plural verb. This is what the golden rule of subject verb agreement. And guys, please note down the examples and the rules that I give you. So it helps you solving the question on SBA. Okay. So also you keep a record of what are all the rules. That's good for you. You can have a look at these examples right now, once after you go through the golden rule. Bill goes to the market every day. The books are on the table. She writes every day, they write it. So this the same thing, right? So when the subject is singular, the verb which is next to the subject is also singular. Bill is a singular subject, goes is a singular verb. The same goes for the books or she writes. Okay. So now what is that disagreement happen when the disagreement happen between the subject and the verb given to you? Okay, so don't get confused with this. Yes, that's the one thing that you should notice. Okay, students knows is not correct, right? Because when you add yes to the subject it becomes plural, but when you add yes to the verb it is singular. Okay, so remember that. I know you can, while reading a sentence only, you can identify this don't fit at all, right? So in this case, the subject is not agreeing with the verb. Okay, so what should we do? Students know is correct and student knows is correct. Okay, so yeah, adding yes to the verb can happen according to the person. I hope you remember this. When we have dealt with the tenses topic in the last semester, the first person, second person, and third person that we have come across, right? So accordingly, with the type of person we use, the verbs differ, right? So this is how. Only for he, she, and it, we add s to the verb. This is just to remember, but then when a sentence is given, you will be knowing. No worries. So just take example for he goes to the market, she goes to the market, it goes to the market. Okay. So this is how we add. Only for the second person, he, she, and it, we add a singular verb, which is adding yes. Okay. So you can ask a doubt like I and you is also a singular subject. And why don't we add yes? You frame a sentence and then try pronouncing it. Okay. Instead of I eat a cake, you cannot tell I eats a cake. That's wrong. Okay. I eat a cake. I drink milk. I drinks milk is wrong. Similarly, you is coming to the party is wrong. So you is only one person. We don't add singular verb. So I and you are exceptional persons here. Got it? So you have to say you are coming to the party. You is coming to the party is wrong. Okay. So when the person is you, your verb should always be plural. And though you use I, the verb is plural. Okay. You don't add yes to it. That's it. Next. When it comes to we are listening. You, again, the same. You are listening. And they are listening. Plural verbs. All these will be following the plural verbs. Okay. So now you had an idea of how the plural verbs and the singular verbs changes in accordance with the person that you're going to use. First person, second person, and the third person, right? Okay. So just we'll have a warm-up exercise now. Depending upon the last two slides, we spoke about the singular and the plural thing, right? The recording the subject and the verb. Okay. So based on these understanding, you just give a try on answering these questions. Okay, so let's start with the first one. And you can give me the answers by typing on the conversation bar so that I can note it down. Yes, guys, your question is You have to say whether brush or brushes is correct. I brush my teeth twice a day is correct, or I brushes my teeth twice a day is correct. Mark your answers on the conversation bar. Good. Janvi? Yes. Ash? Yeah. Shashidhar? Pranda? Good, good. Brush fits the subject I. Okay, I brush is correct. Though I is singular, what I told you is plural verb should fit because I and you are the exceptional category. Similarly, for the second one, what would you tell? You wear or you wears? You wear, right? You wear the same shoes every time. That's the correct one. Good, Pallavi, Kushal, Nitin. Thank you for your answers. Good, good. Next, he kicks the soccer ball into the goal or he kicked the soccer ball into the goal. Which is right? Kick or kicks? First one, brush is correct. Second one, wear is correct. Third one, kicks, because as I told, for the second person, we use singular verbs added with yes. Okay. He kicks is correct. Good. Yashwant. Good, good. Diksha, Yashas, Akshata. Thank you. Let's move on to the fourth question. She watch or watches foreign films, which is right. Watches is correct. Yeah, because he, she, or the second person and singular verb watches will come first. Catherine hide or hides, which is the right answer. The last one. Catherine hide or hides. Hides is correct. Good. Okay, guys, we are done with this warm-up session. I'll repeat the answer. Brush, wear, he kicks, she watches, Catherine hides. Okay. So now you have come to the conclusion how to fit in the verb in accordance with the subjects that we use. Subjects means first person, second person, and the third person, right? So we'll go step by step. Instead of going to the rules all at once and then all at once solving the questions, I'll make you go through the rules one or two and then solving exercise based on that, and three and four solving exercise based on that. Okay, so that also gives you some kind of understanding as soon as we read the rules. Okay. Okay, so you can have a look at this table. If ever you have doubts how to make a singular verb out of plural verb. Okay, so these are the basic syntax that we use to turn a singular noun or a singular verb. Okay. So whenever you see or y, which is a consonant plus y, we just add ies to it to make it singular, right? So this is how we usually do. But there is a proper syntax behind this, which you can have a look at this. With most verbs we just add yes, but then when it comes to letter or a word ending with y, we just add ies, and in some cases we add es to the verb in order to make it singular. Okay, catches, fixes, watches, just now we have seen, right? Next, goes and does is the one exception because it don't have yes, is at, ch, x or es at the end. Okay, that is a two thing that we should know. So there are most commonly used verbs when we take a sentence. So you can have a look at that when you are free. You can search for it, most commonly used verbs, singular verbs. And in case if you face issues or if you face difficulty in converting that, you just remember this in your mind. Consonant plus Y, always IES. And when it ends with S, is that CH, X or ES, it goes with ES. Okay. And most probably you will get only adding S. Okay, that's the one thing. Okay, so there is no rule without exception. When it is a rule, there is always an exception to that. Okay, so there is no rule without exception. So let's have a rule. Sorry, let's have an exception for the golden rule that we had come across. I told you if the subject is singular, the verb should also be singular. If you have plural subject, the verb should also be plural. That's the golden rule for us. Okay, but these are the cases where the rule changes. Okay, so go through these examples. I hope you understand by reading these examples. And I'm sure you have come across these things in grammar. If I were a bird, I would fly. If I were the, like, you have given an essay topics, right? If I were the Prime Minister of India, what are all the things that you do? Okay, you might have come across this grammar essay in your school days. So the same thing. Remember that these are the wishful statements. Okay, when these statements you come across, wishful kind of statement you come across, the rule changes, which is I wear a bird is correct, and I wish it were Friday because you're just wishing for it. You're just imagining that this could happen, but it is not happening. It will never happen. Okay. She requested that he raise his hand. Usually after he, you will get a raises, right? But here it's changed. It's a wishful statement kind of exception. If Joe were here, you would be sorry. Yeah. So this is one kind of exception where we use plural verb next to I. Actually, it should be if I was a bird. I wish it was Friday. Yeah. But then here it changes according to the statement. As I said, the SVA is important because without it, readers will not be able to get your idea what you're conveying, right? Because they should agree in number. If they don't, they sound little odd or incorrect, right? So it is important to ensure that the subjects and verbs will always agree in number with each other. Okay. So let's go to something which is analyzing why it is making difficult. Okay, why SVA is difficult, because you could see from this example, the arrival of new fall fashions have excited all of the back to school shoppers. This is an incorrect statement because I replace have with has in the next sentence. Why? Because here it's a long, complicated subject. The arrival of new fall fashions. By looking at the word fashions, we assume that it is plural and then add a plural verb, but that is wrong. Okay, so calm down and then analyze what is the actual subject and what is trying to distract us, what is trying to confuse us, and then you you come to the conclusion of what is subject. Okay, so here my subject should be arrival. Okay. Since arrival is the subject and that is singular, I should add a singular verb which is has. Okay. So don't get confused with this long complicated subjects. We will also have a look at what are all the things that may confuse us in the upcoming slides. Okay. So this is one thing which makes SVA difficult. Okay. So always analyze properly with the sentence and then you can decide what verb should add. Okay. Shall we analyze the subject of the upcoming sentences now? Okay, it's a warm up again. You just have to identify what is the subject in the given sentence. Okay, let's play this. It is just a question. Don't become serious about it. Last week when I displayed this in the class, like the student was overwhelmed, and he was like, "Ma'am, tomorrow is a Sunday. Okay, how can we write a vocabulary test?" This is how the students reacted last week, but then I'm confirming with you, this is just a question. I want you to identify the subject in the upcoming sentences. So now tell me, what is the subject in the given sentence? You have a vocabulary test tomorrow. So what is the subject here? Yes, guys. So, as you all said, vocabulary test is not the subject at all. Here, the subject is you. Okay. You have a vocabulary test tomorrow. Vocabulary test is an object. Okay. Tomorrow is an adjunct. So, here, don't worry about it, because first analyze regarding whom you're talking about in the sentence. Okay. Who is the doer of the action in the sentence? Whom are you talking about in a sentence? That gives you the answer. Who is the subject? Okay, so here you have a vocabulary test tomorrow. Vocabulary test is not a subject at all. You is the subject here. Let's go to the next sentence. You will have a better understanding. I always bring my dictionary to the class. So who is acting here as the subject? I. Yes, so I is the subject in the second sentence. Next, at the weekend my mother works at a sports club. So give me the subject for the. Yeah, my mother is a subject for the third one. Good, good. Let's move on to the fourth one. Sitting on the roof of my house was a huge blackbird. Sitting on the roof of my house was a huge blackbird. Good. Bird is a subject here because regarding that only we are speaking in the sentence. Okay. So by any chance, you may have the confusion of choosing roof of the house as the subject, but that's not. Okay. So blackbird. Huge black is also an adjective, but bird is a subject. Okay, so regarding that you're speaking in the sentence. Good, all of you. Next, after the heavy rain comes the colorful rainbow. Yes, rainbow is the subject when it comes to the book sentence, because after the heavy rain comes the colorful rainbow. Only regarding the colorful rainbow you're speaking in a sentence, right? So rainbow is the subject here. Okay, so this is the last sentence where you need to identify the subject. The ozone hole over Antarctica is getting larger every year. Ozone hole is the subject here and not Antarctica. Okay, so read the sentence again carefully. Ozone hole over Antarctica is getting larger every year. So whom are you speaking about in the subject, sorry, in the sentence, and who is the doer of the action here? Ozone hole, right? So that is the subject here. Okay, guys, so this is the first step that we should do when we see a sentence. We should look whether the verbs are in accordance with the first person, second person, third person of the subject, and then identify the subject and the verb separately. Then you check whether they both agree or not. Okay. I hope you had a better understanding of how to identify the subject. Let's yeah, let's now have like how far the singularity and plurality is based when it comes to subject. So these are the some common subjects that we use while we change that to plural. Okay, um, let's take for example man, man, and person. For them to turn plural is that women, men. Okay, so child and the children is a plurality of that. These are the common subjects that we come across when it comes to changing singular and the plural of the subject, right? But there are other verb that there are other subjects that we might not have come across, which is elf, else, and then goose, geese, mouse, mice, leaf, leaves. Okay, so these are the things that we should keep in mind on changing from singular to plural. Okay, on changing the noun from singular to plural. Previously, we have seen the verb. By adding just yes or ies or es, we are turning that as plural. But how to turn the subject as plural? These things you should keep in mind. Okay. So it depends on the word that we use. Okay. So now these all come in one category. Woman and man come in one category, and mouse, goose, and all come in one category. And leaf, half, knife, wife, life. So these all come in one category. So these are just some few words I have got it for you. There are other words which is commonly used, which you can search it later. Okay. So these are the other words too. When it comes to data, it is plural always. It is also used for singular and plural both. Okay. But what is the actual singular noun for the data is that data. Okay. Similarly, phenomenon, phenomena, and criterion is the singular for the criteria, and diagnosis and analysis, they both come under the same category. And for syllabus, you can use syllabi or syllabuses as the plural noun. Okay, just have a look at this, how far the plurality changes from the singular noun. Okay, so what's next? Shall we start the rules? Okay, we have now seen about the subject and the verb separately and how to make them into plural. Okay, and also one golden rule, which is singular subject will follow the singular verb, plural subject will follow the plural verb. This is one. These are the things we have seen so far. So now going into the actual rules, we have 10 rules. Also, we have some exceptions along with the rules. We'll just solve it and then we'll have a understanding of it. Okay, so let's have a look at the first rule. The rule number one states that two or more singular subjects connected by the word and will always take a plural verb. That makes sense, right, to the sentence, because you cannot say gold and silver is precious metals, because of course you are describing two different subject. Okay, if two singular subjects are connected by and, then you should use plural verbs. Okay, this is the first rule of you using SVA. So if suppose I talk about only Preeti in this sentence, Preeti walks regularly. I can say walks, adding yes. Okay. But I'm including one more person here, which is two different subjects, right? So I have to add plural verb next to them, which is Preeti and I walk regularly. That is correct. Okay. So this is the agreement of first rule. The subject, if there is two subjects and two are singular, connected by and, it should always take a plural verb. Okay, please note down the first rule and you can have a view at the examples given here. Gold and silver or precious metals, Preeti and I work regularly. Okay, so on taking the first rule with consideration, this is one such exception for the first rule. Why? Because we consider this as one. We consider this bread and milk as one combination. Okay, one single combination. So we use singular verb. Okay, so refrain from these exceptions when you work on this rule number one. Okay, breaking and entering, bed and breakfast. Okay, so these all the things we consider them as one combination. So that's why we use singular verb. And this is expressing one idea, one single idea, right? So it takes a singular verb. This is the exception for the rule number one. Okay. Have a look at another one exception which is to the rule. It is not more like an exception. Instead, you should just be careful in making an agreement between subject and verb throughout the sentence. That is all we should focus. Okay, if one subject and verb is agreeing with one kind of agreement, like Let's take, for example, an assumption. Okay, assumption is a singular subject, and the verb should come next to singular. Okay, that should be singular throughout the sentence. Okay, no matter how many places it comes, how many things that we are telling about this assumption. Okay, it should always agree with singular verb throughout the sentence. So that's the one thing here. Assumption is something that is generally accepted as true and is an important consideration. Okay, so we talk about the same subject throughout the sentence, right? So in those cases, please make sure that is agreeing with the verb throughout the sentence. Okay, take for example the second one, interviews. It's a plural one. So throughout the sentence, whenever you explain about the interviews, the verb should always be plural. Okay, are one way to collect data, and allow is a plural verb, and allow researchers to gain an in-depth understanding. So I'm talking about the interviews throughout the sentence by putting an and in the middle. Okay, but don't forget to make that verb agree with the subject. Okay, so this is what we should make sure while using the rule number 1. So I'll repeat. The rule number 1 states that two or more singular subjects. When you use more than one singular subject, please use plural verb. That's the one rule. And there is one exception, which is you consider something as one combination, then you can use singular verb. Okay. So based on this first rule, let's try solving this example. It's similar to the first warm-up exercise that we had. We just practicing. Okay, we just kind of practicing here. Anne is one person, so I think since Anne is one person here, we can go with the answer walks, right? Am I right? Because that's the singular, right? Next. Can you try answering the second, third, and fourth for me? Good. Walks is correct. Are. When it comes to you, it is always plural verb. So are will be the answer. Next. Jonah and April get along well or gets along well. Remember the rule number 1 and answer the third and the fourth question. Okay. Good, Janvi. Good, good. Number 3. Get is correct. Good. Because gets we use only for the singular noun. As I'm including two singular subjects, my verb will be plural here. Chris and Ben are the best duo in this company has ever seen. Is that correct? Good. We have successfully completed the exercise based on the first rule. Okay, so let's move on to the second rule here. So in the first case, we have seen joining the subjects, but using and. Okay, joining the subjects using and, it takes a plural verb. That's the first rule. Exactly opposite to that of the first rule. Rule 2 is framed. Okay, here rule number 2 states that if you join two singular subjects by using are or nor, you use singular verb. Okay, so exactly opposite of the rule number 1. You just remember that particular one. Okay, so you can answer the question. Two different subjects used should also be singular. Okay, ranger or the camper, both are singular. So singular verb is preferred. Why? Because when you use and, you are including both the people, both the noun in the sentence. Okay, but when you use are or not, you are not using both of them, or you're using only one of them. Okay, so chairperson or the CEO. You're taking only one person among chairperson or CEO. Okay, that's why we use singular verb next to them. Okay, so remember this. So when it is joined by and, you use plural verb, but when two singular subjects joined by are, it is singular verb. Okay, similarly you can have the example potatoes, pasta or rice goes well with grilled chicken. The same thing. Okay, so now we are going to do this. Yes, guys, attends is correct because Jennifer is only one person and it's correct. Okay, next, going to the second question. Emily and John are visiting or is visiting. They are two different subjects, right? But then joined by and, so we use are. Coming to the third one, Mark or Susan needs to pick up Sam from daycare because Mark or Susan, it's the second rule. As the second rule states, two different subjects connected by are, it should take a singular verb next to it. That's why. And the next, the opinions in that article is controversial or controversial. Give me the answer for the fourth one. Good. Fourth one, the answer is are, as Manoj, Akshata, Rajesh tells. Okay. The opinions, don't get confused with this article because your subject is only opinions here. Okay. So are will be the perfect verb with opinions. Next, every book and article for the class. Every book and article for the class. Try answering this because we haven't come across this rule before. So let me check what is your answer. Good, good. Number 5, it is. Okay. Because you're just specifying one individual clarity on this. Good. So every book and article for the class is listed on the teacher's website is correct. Okay. Attending concerts. Attending concerts is fun or fun. Good. It is fun because you're using a gerund here. So you should prefer watching cricket is fun. Okay. Watching movie is fun. So when you use a subject as in the form of gerund, attending. Okay. So that's only one action, right? So that's why we use singular verb next to it. Yeah. Hope you guys understood well with the first and the second rule. So let's move on to the third one. Third one is bit easier one to remember because what we should do when it comes to the third rule is like whenever you see a sentence that begins with there or here, you just forget them. Okay. Move on to the subject next to the verb because this is one case where verb comes first and only then the subject comes. Okay, because usually in a sentence subject comes and then the verb comes next to the subject. But in here, these type of sentences where you have there or here as the starting word, subject follows the verb always. Okay, so consider this there are four hurdles to jump. What is the subject here? Hurdles. Okay, so it's plural, so you use or. And here is the key. Key is the subject and is the verb. That is the problem. Here the subject and the verb agreeing in singularity. Okay. Next, papers. As it is plural, I use the verb are because here are the papers. So whenever you see here or that, don't get confused that as a subject. Instead, you search for the subject next to the verb. Okay. Moving on to the question. So the same rule, when when you face a question type of sentence, again the pattern changes. Okay, verb comes first and then only the subject comes because that is how it is arranged, right? Interrogative, as you could remember from the four types of sentences that we used to see in the last semester. When it comes to interrogative question kind of sentences, the pattern changes. VSA. Okay, how are you? You is the subject, or is the verb. Okay, so similarly, you can have all these kind of words. Who are the people you're related to? Starting with when. When am I going? What are the key takeaways? Okay, key takeaways. Takeaways is the subject here. Okay, how is your and why are these benches? Benches is the subject here, and that's why we use are. Okay, so just keep this in mind when you start with here or that, or when it's a question, you always have subjects next to the verb. That's the only thing you should remember here. And let's try this based on the third rule alone. So what do you think the answer for the first one? Just a try. Okay, number one, are. Okay, because two cars is a plural one, so I prefer are as the verb. There isn't any milk or there aren't any milk in the fridge. Which is correct? Yes, guys, the first one, are, is correct. Good, good. You people are fabulous today in answering questions. Good. When you mention any quantity, please take it as a singular one. Okay. Next, there has been construction or have been construction on the street. Has been, right? Because have been doesn't make any sense because construction is just one. The last one, good, has been is correct. Now the last one, I think again it's why is there a line at the bank? A line is the subject here, so yes will agree with the subject. Okay. So these are the possible categories in this rule that you may get the question. So this is how we need to analyze the subject given next to the verb. Okay, and then you can try checking whether it's agreeing or not. Hope you're doing a great job today. So let's move on to the next rule, which is this requires recalling your parts of speech category that we have seen in the last semester. Why parts of speech? Because take the category of noun. We have seen so many types under noun. Okay. But when I say the name, at least you will remember what is that type of noun. Okay. So collective noun is something that we explain some like family or a judges, jury. We have also seen a bouquet of roses, school of fish, swarm of bees, troop of monkeys. Okay, so many collective nouns we have come across. So all those things you just keep in mind. But then, what is the rule here? Whenever it's a collective noun, it takes a singular verb. Okay, because we are considering them as one unit. Okay, so committee, though there are more members in it, football team, though there are more members in it, we just consider them as one team. We just consider them a committee or 12 dishes as one set. Okay, since we consider the collective number of people under one word, we use singular verb to it. Okay, so we can have a look at example of these. Committee has issued, team is practicing, a set of 12 dishes is all you need for the dinner party. Okay, also this, a bouquet of yellow roses. Don't get confused by seeing yellow roses. Yellow roses, I know that is plural, but forget about that when it comes to collective noun. Okay, when it comes to collective noun, we just collect that more people as in under one category. Okay, so a bouquet is one singular one. So you use lends color and fragrance to the room is correct. So lend color is wrong. This is incorrect. Okay, so the second one, if you had a look at that, that is correct. Lends is what? A singular verb which is fitting with the subject a bouquet, right? Got it? So as a rule number 4 states, when it comes to the collective noun as in under one unit, you should use singular verb. Okay, so this is one such exception, guys, because whenever we speak about some countries and the whole thing under that country, we sometimes use this plural verb because England as in whole, yes, it is one country. But then when it comes to the cricket team, England have won the World Cup. This is how the news line goes to, right? So referring to each and every player under that particular team, that's why we use plural verb. So this is one such exception. Maybe while coming to the exercise, I'll explain it to you practically. Okay. So while reading the fourth rule, we must also be sure of there are some subjects, some collective nouns, which will never have a plural category at all. Okay, like for example, if you take sheep and fish and deer, there is no plurality and all. Okay, both in singular and plural, it is the same. We don't tell sheeps, we don't tell fishes, we don't tell deers. Okay, so there are some kind of nouns which act the same form in both singular and plural. Please have the understanding of that.
ಹಾಸ್ಪಿಟಲ್ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತಿದ್ದೆ ನಾನು ಬಿಡು ಒಂದೇ ಕೊಟ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ ನಾವು ಕೊಳ್ಳುವ
Sorry for the disturbance, guys, but please note, students, that you make sure that your audio is muted because there are several others listening to the class and they might get disturbed if you unmute the audio. So please make sure about that. So if you have free time to search and to work on SPA, have the clarity of certain subjects which remain the same form. Okay. So here, let me explain. My family are moving to California. So I'm going to correct the errors in the following sentences. My family are moving to California. Yes. My family, yeah, may contain more than one member. Yes, of course. It's a collective word. So what I said is collective noun always takes a singular verb, right? So my family, yes, will be correct here. Am I right? Okay. Which room is bigger? That is already correct. So no change in the second sentence. Going to the third one. When are the movie going to start? Okay. Movie is just one noun. So I'm using is as my verb, which is agreeing to the singular subject movie. My sister and brother cleans up after themselves. That is wrong. Okay. So this S should not be coming here. Got it? My sister and brother is a plural one. So plural verb accordingly, clean we should add. Cleans is wrong. So the third rule we have seen about that here in the question format wherein subject comes after the verb. Fourth rule we have seen about the collective noun. Okay. So coming to the fifth rule, there may be nouns which describe as two parts like spectacles, scissors, pants, tweezers, trousers. There are so many other. Okay. But when it comes to these kind of subject, when you regard it as a pair, when you mention it as a pair, you can use singular verb. Like a pair of scissors is lying on the table. Okay. So you just call them as refer them as one unit. But when you use only without that pair, when you use scissors, spectacles normally, then that is plural. Okay. So mom's spectacles are broken. But when you say it as a pair, that takes a singular noun. So for example, you can have a look at this. So all these are taking the noun as such. Trousers, jeans, glasses. Okay. Suppose if I can say a pair of glasses is missing. A pair of lenses is missing. Contact lens is missing. So this is how I can describe. When you say it as a pair, then that takes a singular verb. But if you put it normally, then you can give a plural verb next to it. Take 1 minute of a short break. Let me come back. Yes, guys. So we have completed 5 rules. So the next half of the session begins here. The sixth rule is about countable and uncountable nouns. Okay. So don't get confused with the countable nouns, because countable nouns is like normally that accepts the rule number, which is golden rule. Okay. If neighbor, that is one a singular noun, so it takes a singular verb. Neighbors, plural noun, it takes a plural verb. Okay, so there is no change in countable nouns. Okay, it is as usual, as you know the rule. But under this rule number 6, we also consider uncountables, which is jewelry, furniture, apparatus. So these kind of, like I told you, construction. Yeah. So that is also an uncountable noun. So these kind of uncountable, in fact, it also takes abstract noun like tears, truth, love, hatred, all those things. Okay. So when some noun is uncountable, you should use singular verb. Okay. That's all this rule about. See the example. The apparatus for the next experiment has been set up. Luggage has been checked in. My jewelry is broken. Okay. So when you tell these kind of uncountable, it is always considered as one. That's why we use singular verb next to it. Okay. Got it? Similarly, as in I told you for abstract nouns, so you can have a look at this. Truth eventually prevails. Hatred has no limit. The fragrance of this perfume is so, fragrance is one, okay, is so overpowering. So when something is not countable, when even when it is abstract that you can't count, it always takes a singular verb. Excuse me. So in the same rule, when you come across these kind of subjects, don't get confused. Okay, news, athletics, linguistics, all these sports words. Okay, billiards, dots, it may look like ending with s, but it is not plural. Okay, it is considered as one, and it is coming under this rule, which is never taking a plural form. Okay, news is one, and that's why we add singular verb next to it. Athletics is one particular sport. Linguistics, dots, billiards is also the similar way. Since we tell uh, some word ending with yes, we should not get confused. Okay. Similarly, for subjects, mathematics, physics, and all, it is always one. So that's why it's a singular verb. Just not in case if you get confused. Rule 6 is all about uncountables, and you use singular verbs. Okay. And do you remember the other part of speech that we have seen, which is pronoun? Okay, pronoun is all about it's replacing a noun, right? So in the first warm-up exercise, I think second warm-up exercise, you have given me the correct answer. Everybody in the class something, but then you have given me the correct answer by fitting in the singular verb. That same rule applies here. Okay, so even without knowing the rule, you have answered it correctly. So when you see these kind of pronouns, indefinite pronouns, it takes a singular verb next to it, because we are specifying only one, anyone in the class. Everybody in the class is listening. Okay. So nobody comes to the party. So this is how the sentences can be framed. So have a look at these examples where it begins with the indefinite pronoun and it also takes a singular verb next to it, as we consider that as one unit. Okay. Everyone, each of the cakes, each of the participants. You should not get confused with cakes and participants. Okay. Whenever you get these kind of indefinite pronouns, which is in the table left to it, it takes only a singular verb. I think you can note this down. So second one is the exceptional one. It either takes singular or the plural. I'll show you the examples for that. Anybody, anyone, anything, each, much, many, nobody, no one, nothing, somebody, someone, something. Okay. When you see all these indefinite pronouns, please add singular verb next to it. Okay. You don't need to memorize these rules at all, because just understand how it depends on the situation, how far it is placed in the sentence. That's all the thing that you should analyze. Okay. Now have a look at this example. I think we have had a look at it right now. Everybody has to participate, that is singular. No one was available, that is also singular. And this is the one category I told you where we use all, any, none, some. Remember these four: all, any, none, some, sometimes most. Okay. Some of the debt has been paid off, some of the debts are still outstanding. Okay. So it depends based on the subject near to that. Okay. Debt or debts. Some of the debt, that is singular. Some of the debts, that is plural. Okay. So it depends on the situation or the meaning that is stated, conveyed in the sentence. Okay. So when you get these words, it's always depending on the meaning of the sentence. So take for example here, none of the counterfeit money has been used. Money has been used. None of the students is plural, have finished. No employee, employee is a singular, has received. No examples are relevant. Okay. So all, any, none, some. If you read this title, indefinite pronouns which take singular or plural verb depending on the meaning of the sentence. Okay. Then, to this rule of indefinite pronouns usage, we have one exception, which is both, several, others, many, few. When you get these kind of words, it uses plural verbs. Okay. So many have taken the rest, a few are not coming, several are there. Okay. When you consider this as noun itself, then it takes a plural verb. So these words are such exceptions for this rule. But when it comes to solving exercises, you will not get these much confusions, because practice is all you need. Okay. Try practicing so many questions so that you refrain from getting these confusions. Okay. But then have a note or have a record of what are all the rules and exceptions to your usage. Okay. So that you can regularly recall and then you can try to answer. Okay. So shall we try this out? Just 5 questions based on what we have learned in this rule and so far. Rule number 7 about indefinite pronouns, and we completed rules 7 rules. So now just try answering this. Everyone has done or have done. So keep all those things that we have seen in so far, and then try to answer this. Just the last slide we have seen. Okay. Indefinite pronouns like everybody, anyone, everything, somebody, someone, something, it always takes a singular verb. So keep that in mind and then answer the question number 1. Everyone has done his or her homework. Okay. That will be the correct fit here. Okay. Now you got it. Yeah. while trying to answer, I understand you may get confusions, but then by practice you can master this. Okay, so don't worry. Moving on to the next question. Each of the students is responsible. Why? Because each is the indefinite pronoun that should take a singular verb. Next, either my father or my brothers. I think we'll solve this after completing the next rule. Okay, so don't worry about 3 and 4. So leave the questions 3 and 4 and go to the fifth question. Answer me the fifth one. The samples on the tray in the lab need testing or needs testing? Because here the subject is samples, right? So accordingly, what verb I can fit? Plural verb, which is need. Samples on the tray in the lab need testing. Got it? We shall finish the next rule and then try answering the third and fourth question. Okay, so coming to the eighth rule, I'm sure you people might have come across this proximity sensor. Okay, proximity sensor is like fit. It was attached to the two-wheeler, okay, or the four-wheeler. Okay, whenever a person closes or stands close to the vehicle, you will hear an alarm sound, right? So that's what the proximity does. Okay, the word itself, you understand this incident, you should keep in mind. Proximity sensor, whenever a person gets close to the vehicle, you get an alarm sound. That's the sensor, right? So law of proximity is also the same. It's about the objects near to each other, they tend to group each other. That's the law actually. So from this only this word came, that proximity. And similarly, rule 8 is all about rule of proximity, which is when you have this combination of subjects, singular subject is also there, plural subject is also there in the sentence. In that case, what will you do? Don't worry, remember this proximity rule in the mind. Okay, so take the subject which is closest to the verb and put them in agreement. That's all we have to do. Okay, so here committee members is a plural one, so you can use write as a plural verb. So committee members or the student is a singular one, so writes. Okay, so whenever this combination of singular and the plural subjects comes in the sentence, in that case, don't be worried, don't get panic. Instead, you can remember this proximity word in mind and then take the subject which is closest to the verb and then put them in agreement. Okay. Similarly, there are three scenarios where you could consider the closest subject. The one thing is if it is connected by are or not. Okay. And not only but also. But while reading this sentence, you will get that idea. Not only Hari, but also his brothers were arrested. Here the subject considered as brothers. Okay. Coming to the next one. Sentence that begin with either or, neither nor. Yeah. In this case also, we will consider the rule of proximity. Okay. There are three cases where we consider rule of proximity because there are combination of subjects. Okay. So that verb will agree with the closest subject next to it. The first case is or not. Second case, not only but also. Third case, either or, neither nor. In these cases, please consider the subject which is closest to the verb because that makes sense. Because in that case, we don't confuse. Yeah. So while practicing, you will better understand this. So now let's try answering this third and the fourth one. Either my father or my brothers. Can you give me answers for third one and the fourth one? Remember the rule of proximity here because I told you either or, neither nor comes in a sentence with both singular subject and plural subject is there, in that case, verb should agree with the closest subject. Here the closest subject is brothers, right? Brothers are going to sell the car will be correct because that is close to the what I told you, rule of proximity. Next, the same case, neither my sisters nor my mother. Mother is singular, so you should add only singular verb next to it. Okay. Yeah. Did you understand the rule of proximity? I hope this is easy to remember if you keep in mind what is proximity is itself. Okay. Good, good. Thanks for answering. Next, completed 8 rules. There are only 2 left. Yes. So let's move on to the rule number 9, which is I think you'll understand it better by seeing the example because as we have seen the initial example, the arrival of the new fall fashions, right? As I told you, that makes the SVA difficult. Why? Because we get confused in identifying the subject itself as the subject is very long and complicated. Okay, so that's the same case here. When your subject, when a class or a phrase occurs between the subject and the verb, don't get confused. Depending on the subject must agree with the verb. Okay, so just have a look at this example. The student as well as the committee members, yes, excited is correct because student is the subject here. Okay, so don't get confused with the phrases and the additional words or clauses that comes next to the main subject. Here the main subject is student, and the second one, the focus of the interviews was 9 purposively selected participants. Why we use was here? Because focus is the subject. Okay, focus of the interviews. So don't, these are the additional and making us distracted. Okay, so we should not confused by these additional information about the subject. Just leave it, just hide it, and then you can check whether the subject agrees with the verb. Here the student is the subject with all master's degrees additional information. Okay, he is very motivated. Got it? So this is how the next rule is framed. So see the possible scenarios where the phrases or the clauses occur in between the subject and the verb, just in case to confuse us. Okay, some cases you will be having this commas where you'll be very sure of what is the subject. Even though there is a comma, please don't get confused. You just hide this additional information, which is along with the newsman is not needed here. The politician is expected shortly. Next, excitement as well as nervousness. No, you just hide that. Excitement is the cause of her shaking. Next one, oil as well as gas is a popular heating choice. Oil is a popular heating choice. Peanut butter combined with bread and jelly, don't get confused with that. They are the distractors for us. Peanut butter is a tasty snack. That is the correct frame. Okay. So these are just connective phrases acting between the subject and the verb. Okay. I hope you got the rule number 9. The boy at the door is my brother. The car with many riders was speeding. As I told, car, car and the boy is the main subject here. The next things which are coming up after the subject is just a preposition, okay, where it is located and all that information you don't need at all, okay. So these are the prepositional phrases. Again, these act as the distractors. The boy is my brother. The car was speeding. That is all we should consider, okay. And here so long explanation about the subject. Have a look at this example. The cat that is chasing the squirrels belongs to the budget. So by seeing the squirrels, don't get confused. Cat is the subject here. That is chasing the squirrels. You're speaking only about the cat in the entire sentence. Okay. So the verb should be singular. And then next, a dog that loves its owners deserves the reward. Don't confuse by owners. Dog, about dog only you're speaking in the sentence. Dog should take a singular verb which is deserves. Okay. Next. Anyone who arrives late is welcome. Anyone is a subject. So yes should be the perfect match here. Got it? So whenever it's a phrase or whenever it's a prepositional phrase or it's a clause, between the subject and the verb, don't get confused between the additional things that are being told in a sentence. Instead, please concentrate and focus on the first main subject. What are you talking about in a sentence? Okay, that's almost enough. We reached the last rule. Wow. So here it's kind of portion referring subject. Okay. So you might have heard these sentences, 1/3 of the people, a lot of people, a plenty of time. Okay. So these quantification subjects, but then when you indicate the portions, it differs based on the sentence to use singular verb or plural verb. Okay, it differs. Because if you see a lot of pie has disappeared, a third of the city is unemployed, third of the people are unemployed. Okay. So third of the city means you're just referring only one city. Third of the people, so many people, it's plural. That's why it is are unemployed. Lot of people, whenever you say the quantity, that is depending on the noun next to it. Okay. Lot of people visit Dubai. That's correct. People is plural, visit is plural. There is plenty of time. Again, plenty of time. Time is just one, so that we use singular verb next to it. So whenever you indicate the portions, it depends on the sentence to use singular verb or the plural verb. So try considering these examples. So these are the exceptions to this rule. When you refer the numbers like 3 miles, 5 years is the maximum sentence, $10 is a high price to pay. When you just use distances or the time or the amount of money, okay, but then it's considered as single unit because 3 miles is too far away to walk. We consider that as only 1 unit. Also $10 is a high price to pay. That is also on 1 unit. So when you see these portions, when you see the subject as people, city, plenty of time, depending on that, singular, plural varies. But when you see these portions like number, time, and money, okay, when you see these kind of subjects, it takes a single unit, okay, so it takes a singular verb. Got it? I'm sure you might not remember all the 10 rules. I'm sure you have noticed down, and based on the noted things in your note, we are going to solve the questions. Okay. So the first one, let me help you for the first one because I'm sure you might have to take time to solve. So I can help you out in this. Okay, so here yes, Sears or the store where we bought our fridge. Okay, so let us all recall and then let us answer why it is so. Okay. Okay, Sears is the proper noun, and just because it ended with s, it doesn't mean Sears is a store. It's like a store name, right? So since it's a store name and it is only one store, we use singular. Got it? Use this as singular verb. Next, the local news. As I told you, news, mathematics, and all the proper nouns that end with the s don't get confused because it's only one store. And here it is only one local news. Okay, it's one unit. So it's singular, which is you should use begins. Next, economics, measles is the same category. Okay, measles is one disease, and just because it ends with yes, don't get confused. It's a singular one. Next, economics is also one single subject. So go with a singular verb. Okay. 50 miles, just the last slide we have seen. When you specify the portion with numbers, it's considered as only one unit. Okay. 50 miles is too far to travel for a daily commute. One hundred minus 25. How will you explain this? It's just a mathematical expression, right? But 100 minus 25 is going to be only one answer. Just because it's numbers and it is 75, you can't consider that as plural, okay? It should be singular because 100 minus 25, it's a mathematical expression. It always takes singular verb, okay? Because the answer is 75, that is only one answer, okay? And police. Police is one such subject where it takes the same form in singular and plural. Okay, there is no word called polices. You can say cop, cops, but when it comes to police, it's the collective noun as the same form. So here, police have arrived at the scene of crime. That's not one police. Police is always a plural one. That's why we consider this as plural. This slide is for teaching you how to answer the questions. From the next slide, you'll be answering. Okay. So Brazilian Portuguese. So I'm just giving example of all possible confusions that you may get in the question. That's why. Yes, guys, you should automatically to be admitted to the meeting, but I don't know why this error occurs and keeps coming. And yeah, we'll rectify it in the next meeting then. I'm sure everyone is in right now. Okay. Now, Brazilian Portuguese is her native dialect. Okay. So, in this question, Brazilian Portuguese is a proper noun. Okay. So, when it referring a language and a nationality, it is just singular. Okay. So, here Brazilian Portuguese is her native dialect. English is his native language and Hindi is her native language. When you tell about the language, it's one. Okay. Many Japanese, but the second next sentence it varies. Okay. The meaning between these two varies. Here you are telling that as a native language, but here you are involving all the people of Japan. Many Japanese are fascinated by American popular culture. Do you see the difference between these two? Of course, yeah. Okay. So the young has their here. What is the clue in this sentence? There. Okay. Of course, there means plural. Okay. The young have whole have their whole lives ahead of them. Okay. So a group of young people they are referring here. Okay. So in case if you have doubts on adding has or have, this there is helping you. Their whole lives. It means it's plural, right? So it giving me a clue. Okay. So now I'll be showing you all possible kind of questions, all possible category of questions that you're going to make. Okay. So here you can have a look at this slide. I just want you to tell whether A is correct or B is correct. Okay. You can just give me the answer for the correct sentence. So these are the possible questions that I had a confusion so that you can also try practicing it and giving me the answer. Okay. So I hope you're ready. So tell me that sandals and towels or sandals and towels is the correct answer. You can just type A or B. That would be fine for you. Yes, Janvi, thanks for asking. Portuguese is actually that is the way to pronounce. But as you said, we have different pronunciations when it comes to the origination. Okay, so Italy, French, and Polish. So that there are so many languages, and English is differently pronounced according to their native language. Like you told, British English differs from the American English. Okay. Yes. I'm looking for the answers from you. Sandals and towels are essential gear for a trip to the beach. Whether this is correct or sandals and towels is essential gear for a trip to the beach. Can you tell me which is correct? Yes. Yes. Or sandals and towels or essential gear. Yes, going to the second one. R is correct. Next. Moving on to the second question. Mustard greens are my favorite vegetable. Mustard greens is my favorite vegetable. R is correct because the plural, the subject itself is plural, right? So again, it's A. Okay. Next. Each of the dancers twirls brilliantly. Each of the dancers twirl brilliantly. Which is right for the third one? I'm marking the right answers as highlighted in red. For the third one, which is correct, each of the dancers twirls because each, everybody, anybody, somebody, those are all the indefinite pronoun category, which is taking a singular verb, right? So that's why it is taking a singular verb when it starts with these kind of indefinite pronouns. Next, the last one. Neither she nor I is getting. This is somewhat tricky, but let me see who is answering correctly for the last one, whether it's A or B or C. Fourth one, whether it's A or B or C. I told you that rule of proximity, right? So remember that whenever you get sentences with more than one subjects joined by either or, neither or, not only but also. Okay, maximum in neither nor. So this proximity tells that the verb should agree with the closest subject. Okay, when the subject is I, what will be your word? Word of verb. Will you tell I is getting the lunch special? No. But will you tell I are getting the lunch special? No. So now tell me which is the correct answer. So the verb must agree with the closest subject next to it. Remember that this is the rule of proximity. Okay. So I think now you will be giving me the right answer. Good. Okay. Neither she nor I am getting the lunch special. That will be the correct answer here. Okay. So I think all your confusions cleared by this. So this is the last exercise for you. So what I mean from this exercise is that this is just a passage, but then you just want to identify the places where where the verbs are misplaced. Okay. Just after you tell me, I'll mark the answers. Okay. So here, I feels itself is wrong, right? I feel should be correct. Feels. No. I feel that I am the ideal candidate for the receptionist position at your company. That's correct. Next. I has 3 years of experience. That's wrong, right? Because I told you it will take a plural verb. I have completed 2 years of graduation. That's correct. You will never say I has, yeah, 3 years of experience and all that. Okay. So I have is correct. Next. As a receptionist in a company that is similar to yours. My phone skills and written communication are excellent. Will that be correct? are excellent. So as it has two different subjects, I'm going with are. These skills and others that I have learned on the job helps me understand. Okay, here I think help, okay, because these skills I told you, don't get confused by the additional things. Skills is the subject here. So what would you do? You should just write this yes away. Am I right? So help is a verb next to skills. These skills help me understand that every person in a company helps make the business a success. Here it helps because every person is singular, so helps. Agree with that, okay? At my current job, the team always says, because I told you it is collective noun, it says team takes singular verb, so it says that I'm very helpful. Everyone appreciates, okay? Appreciates. Because everyone is an indefinite pronoun, that should take singular verb, okay? When I go the extra mile to get the job done right, my current employer and co-workers feel it should not come. Feels should not come, right? So I'm striking this. Next, that I'm an asset to the team. I is efficient and organized. That is wrong, absolutely. What is right? I am. I am
Ma'am, we have class, ma'am.
organized. Is there any other details about me that you would like to know? That's correct. If so, please contact me. Here is my resume is correct. Okay. Reach me by email or phone. I looks forward is wrong. I look forward to speaking with you in person. That's correct. Okay. I sorry, I understand that I have taken your 3 minutes of time maybe, and thanks for all your cooperation. Today you have been so brilliant and cooperative in answering all the questions. And yeah, see you guys in the next class, next verbal topic. And stay safe and stay happy. It's a Sunday for you tomorrow. So relax from all these things and take a rest for one day for you. Also try helping your mom. That would be the great thing for you this time. And yeah, try downloading Toon app and then have fun with the cartoons and add some chili flakes and cheese and make cheese garlic bread. Enjoy your Sunday, guys. Stay safe, stay happy. Bye bye. Take care.